Hey everyone, Chris here and welcome to my channel. In today's video, I'm here to share with you my 25 and 25 TBR. So the wonderful Brie from Four Paws and a Books has created a bingo board full of prompts to get us to read 25 different books in 2025. I know a lot of people do these videos, but I loved the idea that Brie had to kind of give us prompts to fulfill for our 25 and 25. So this year I'm taking part and I'm here today to run you through the books that I plan to read for each prompt. So the first prompt is a 2025 release, and for this I plan to read Adrift in Currents Clean and Clear by Shauna McGuire. This is the most recent release in the Wayward Children series. It comes out on January 7th, and I know I'm going to read it in January, probably as soon as I get my hands on it, so this seemed like the perfect option because it is the one 2025 release that I am 1000% sure I am going to get to in the year 2025. Next, we have one word title, and for this I'm going to read Flight by Angie Sage. This is the second book, I believe, in the Septimus Heap series. This is one of my series to continue for 2025, so I'm 1000% going to be reading this, so I absolutely was going to add it to this TBR. For Involves Travel, I'm going to read A Pirate's Life for Tea by Rebecca Thorne. This is the second book in the Tea and Tomes series, and from what I can remember of the description, it certainly seems like our main characters are going to be going on a journey, they're going to be traveling, and that will definitely feature in this book. I don't want to say exactly how, because I feel like that would be spoilers for the first book, but I did quite enjoy the first book, so I'm looking forward to traveling around with our characters in this one. For number in the title, I'm going to read Two Roads. This follows a boy who's discovering his Native American heritage in a Depression-era tale of identity and friendship. I don't know much more about this, but I thought it would be fun, and I like that it gave me some Indigenous rep on my TBR. For cover by, I'm going to read The Nightmare Before Christmas because I literally got this because of the cover. Like, front, back, end papers. I knew nothing about it, but I saw the beautiful, gorgeous Owl Crate edition and went, you know, I've got to have it. I have to have it. It's too pretty a book not to have. Hopefully I enjoy it. I don't really know much about it other than that it's an absolutely gorgeous edition of the book. So I feel like that definitely covers the cover by prompt pretty perfectly. For seasonal book, I'm going to read Make You Mine This Christmas. I always read some sort of Christmassy romance books at Christmas time, so this felt like a no-brainer. It's one I've wanted to get to for a while, so very excited to pencil this in on my December TBR. For LGBTQ plus rep, I'm going to read Celestial Monsters by Aiden Thomas. This is a series I need to get back to. The second book only came out earlier this year, and yet I'm bummed that I did not manage to figure out a way to pick it up sooner. I plan to reread the Sunbearer Trials before reading Celestial Monsters, so I can just read this duology back to back. I really enjoyed the Sunbearer Trials, so I'm hoping I enjoy Celestial Monsters just as much. Favorite author's newest release. For this, I'm going to read Warriors graphic novel, The Prophecies Begin, number 2. This is the second book in the graphic novel version of the first arc in the Warriors series. Anybody who watches my channel knows how much I love Aaron Hunter, and so I cannot wait to dive into this. I'm actually doing a reread with Omi of the first arc of 6. It'll be their first time reading it, but I will be doing, I don't even know at this point what reread I'm on, but I love this series and I thought it would be fun to refresh my memories of the first arc and then reread the first graphic novel and then dive into the second one. So this seemed like the perfect book for this prompt. For hyped book, I'm going to read Fool's Errand by Robin Hobb. I feel like literally any Robin Hobb book could work here, but this is a series I want to get back to, like the Realm of the Elderlings as a whole. And so this is the book I'm currently on, so this is the book I will be picking for this prompt. Because, like I said, I think any book in the Realm of the Elderlings would count as a hyped book. Color of the year. So, tentatively, I'm going with the Pantone color of the year, which is this, like, brownish color. And so right now I'm choosing A Page of Murder because there's lots of brown tones in this cover, but I could end up swapping this out depending on what the Goodreads color of the year is, as I might have a book that I feel matches that better, but tentatively right now I'm going to go with A Page of Murder. For POC author, I'm going to be reading Ellie Engel Saves Herself by Leah Johnson. This is a middle grade contemporary that looked quite interesting, and I was hoping to get to it in 2025, so I thought it was perfect to slot in for this particular prompt. For novella, I'm going to read Positively Sabotaged by Melissa Erin Jackson. This is book 1.5 in this series, and it is a series I want to catch up on. So I thought, what better way to make sure I read the novella in this series than to add it to this challenge. For 5-star prediction, I'm going to read Silverborn by Jessica Townsend. This is the 4th book in the Nevermore series. We have all been waiting for this book for so long, and I just cannot imagine this book does not get 5 stars. I've loved the first 3. I'm doing a reread of the first 3 before I read book 4, so the entire world will be fresh in my mind, and I cannot wait to dive back into that world and see what happens to Morgan in this one. So one of the easiest 5-star predictions I've done, Silverborn by Jessica Townsend. For Compt, I'm going to read The Menagerie. The description says, perfect for fans of Brandon Mull's Fablehaven series and the Spiderwick Chronicles. So there is your comparison. That's what Compt means. This is written by 2T Sutherland. And 2T Sutherland wrote the Wings of Fire series, which I really enjoyed, and is one of the authors behind the pseudonym Aaron Hunter, who is one of my favorite authors. So it seemed like an absolute no-brainer to choose this when I realized it fit for this prompt, because I'm very curious to see how this series compares to the other series I've enjoyed by her. For Friend Rec, I asked Omi to pick me a book, and Omi picked Fourth Wing. Omi really enjoys the series and thinks I'm going to as well. I'm a little nervous because I've heard some people don't like it, but we're going to see what I think about it. So Fourth Wing it is in 2025. Fingers crossed I enjoy it. For over 400 pages, I'm going to read Physic by Angie Sage. Again, another book in the Septimus Heap series. I'm pretty sure all of the books in the series are well over 400 pages. So I really had tons of options if I wanted to pick a book in the series. But I decided to go with this one, and we'll see if I can catch up on this series in 2025. Special edition. For this, I'm going to read The Bones Beneath My Skin by TJ Klune. So I'm planning on getting the Barnes & Noble exclusive edition of this book. Therefore, it will be a special edition. I don't know anything about it other than it's written by TJ Klune, and I've enjoyed everything I've read by TJ Klune. So we'll see how this one goes. Hopefully I like this one as well. Chapter titles. For this, I'm going to read Ways to Grow Love. I do own a copy of this book, and it does indeed have chapter titles. I did not think about the fact that it would be easier to show that off if I grabbed it, but I will insert a picture here of the chapter titles so that you can see there are indeed chapter titles in this book. This is the 2nd book in the series. I thought the 1st book was cute. It is a younger middle grade contemporary series. Like I said, I had fun with the 1st one, and I wanted to continue the series on before I passed it on to the little ones in my life. So we'll dive back into that series for this prompt. Debut author. For this, I'm going to read Voyage of the Damned by Frances White. This is this author's debut. I've heard mixed things about this book, but the premise sounded interesting to me, and I got a pretty decent deal on it over the Black Friday holiday. So I have a copy. We're going to try it out, and hopefully I side with the people who enjoy it more than the people who don't. For mental health rep, I'm going to read Growing Pangs by Catherine Omsby. The description says, introducing a graphic novel about friendship, anxiety, and growing up. So we're going to see our main character, Katie, deal with some anxiety, and that definitely counts as mental health rep. I'm curious to see how Katie's anxiety presents itself, as I know there's a pretty broad spectrum of ways one can experience anxiety, and as somebody who also experiences anxiety, I really enjoy seeing that representation in books, so very excited to get to this one. So for Snake on the Cover, I really struggled. I did not know if I was going to be able to do this without starting a new series, but I did manage to find a book with a snake on the cover, and that's Clash of Beasts by Lisa McMahon. This is the 3rd book in the Growing Wild series, so I will have to read book 2 before I can get to this one. But given how hard I was struggling, the fact that I actually found a book that I either owned or was in a series I was working on made me so incredibly happy, because it fits into some of the stuff I want to work on in 2025. So we'll see how this goes, and hopefully I enjoy book 2 enough to continue on with the series so I can read book 3 and use it for Snake on the Cover. For self-published, I'm going to read Murder at Spindle Manor. This one was another one I thought I was going to struggle with, because I don't read a ton of self-published books, mainly because I feel like a lot of people who do read ebooks, because that is the easiest way to get your hands on a self-published book. And I don't read tons of ebooks, but there was a sale, I believe, on Spiffbo books, and I ended up picking up a few of them, and this is one of them. And from what I can tell, this is indeed a self-published book. Please correct me if I'm wrong. I'm still new at figuring this whole indie published, self-published thing out. I don't usually pay attention to that unless prompted. So hopefully this counts, and it looked interesting. So we'll see if I can actually pick this up, because I tend to do this thing with ebooks where they're out of sight, out of mind. So we'll see if I actually do get to this one in 2025. For new to you author, I'm going to pick up Anzu in the Realm of Darkness by Mia K. Nguyen. This is a middle grade graphic novel that follows a girl fighting her way back home after getting trapped in the spirit world. It looked interesting. I've never read anything from this author before, so very curious to see if I enjoy their writing style. For TBR vet, I went with On Mystic Lake by Kristen Hanna. This is one of the books I've owned for the longest period of time, so I think it's perfect for this. I tried to go with one of the oldest books I still have on my physical TBR, and I believe I had a choice between this and a different Kristen Hanna. As much as I love Kristen Hanna's historical fiction, her earlier writing, when it was more of like contemporary, is less my jam, so I think that's why I've been putting this off. So this is going to give me, again, that nudge I need to pick this book up finally. And then the last prompt is to read a book from a different challenge. And I'm going to go with The Greatest Kingdom by Francesca Gibbons. This is the third and final book in the Clock of Stars series. And the other challenge I'm reading this from is my own year-long readathon, Phase Out Your Series-a-thon. This is a book that I am using to fill out one of the prompts on the hardboard for Phase Out Your Series-a-thon. So I absolutely thought, given that I already have created this whole year-long readathon talking about phasing out your series, that I should use my own readathon to fulfill this prompt. So I will be reading The Greatest Kingdom and finishing off this trilogy. So there is my TBR for Bree's 25 in 25 challenge. I am very, very excited to see how many of these books I actually get to and how many of them I enjoy. I think this is such a cool idea that you created, Bree. I'm very excited to be taking part and look forward to seeing how well I remember to actually pick up some of these books. Are you taking part in Bree's 25 in 25 challenge? If so, let me know which prompt was hardest for you to figure out in the comment section below. All of my social media is linked in the description below if you'd like to come chat with me. If you've made it this far in the video, leave me a snake emoji in honor of the prompt that was hardest for me. Like this video and subscribe to my channel, and I will talk to you next time. Bye!